Gregor Mendel was born in 1822 in the small village of Heinzendorf, which was located in what is now the Czech Republic. He came from a humble family of farmers, and as a young boy, he worked hard on his family's farm. Despite the many responsibilities of farm life, Mendel had a deep interest in nature, and was curious about how plants and animals grew. From a very young age, he was drawn to the natural world, and would spend much of his free time observing the plants and animals around him. He often wondered how certain characteristics, such as the color of flowers or the shape of seeds, were passed down from one generation to the next. Mendel's curiosity about nature led him to pursue an education beyond his village. He went to the local school and was a good student. Mendel's love for learning grew stronger as he got older, and he dreamed of studying science. In 1843, he joined a monastery and became a monk, which gave him the opportunity to continue his education. The monastery provided Mendel with a quiet place to study and access to books and resources that helped him learn more about science. He also became a teacher at the monastery, where he taught subjects like physics and natural science. While living in the monastery, Mendel spent a lot of time in the monastery's garden. It was here that he began his famous experiments with plants. Mendel was particularly interested in studying pea plants because they had several traits that were easy to observe, such as the color of the seeds and the shape of the flowers. At that time, very little was known about how traits were passed from one generation to another. Mendel wanted to understand how plants inherited their characteristics, and he thought that studying pea plants might provide the answers. Mendel's approach to science was methodical and careful. He designed his experiments to test how different traits in plants were inherited. He selected pea plants with different characteristics, such as one with round seeds and another with wrinkled seeds, and crossed them with each other. He then studied the seeds produced by these plants to see what characteristics they inherited. Over the years, Mendel conducted many experiments with pea plants, carefully recording the results of each cross. He counted the number of plants with each trait and made detailed notes about what happened with each generation. Mendel discovered that certain traits were inherited in predictable patterns. For example, when he crossed a pea plant with round seeds and a pea plant with wrinkled seeds, the first generation of plants all had round seeds. But when he crossed these first-generation plants with each other, the second generation showed a mixture of round and wrinkled seeds. This was surprising to Mendel, and it led him to realize that there were hidden patterns in the inheritance of traits. He discovered that some traits, like the round seed shape, were dominant, while others, like the wrinkled seed shape, were recessive. This means that dominant traits appear more often in offspring, while recessive traits can be hidden if a dominant trait is also present. Mendel's work revealed that traits are passed from one generation to the next in specific patterns. He used these patterns to develop a set of rules, now known as Mendel's laws of inheritance. The first law is the law of segregation, which says that each organism has two copies of each gene, one inherited from each parent. These copies are separated during the formation of sex cells, sperm and eggs, and each sex cell gets one copy of each gene. The second law is the law of independent assortment, which says that genes for different traits are inherited independently of each other. This means that the inheritance of one trait does not affect the inheritance of another trait. Mendel's discoveries were groundbreaking, but they were not immediately recognized. At the time, most scientists did not understand the importance of his work, and Mendel's research was largely ignored. His work was published in 1866 in a scientific journal, but few people paid attention to it. Mendel continued his work with pea plants, but his discoveries did not gain widespread attention during his lifetime. It wasn't until many years later that other scientists rediscovered Mendel's work. In the early 1900s, three scientists, Karl Correns, Erich von Tschermak, and Hugo de Vries, independently came across Mendel's research and realized how important it was. They confirmed Mendel's findings and showed that his laws of inheritance applied not only to pea plants but to many other living organisms as well. This discovery led to the foundation of the field of genetics, which is the study of how traits are inherited. Today, Mendel is recognized as one of the most important scientists in history. His work laid the foundation for modern genetics and helped scientists understand how living organisms inherit traits. His discoveries have had a lasting impact on many fields, including agriculture, medicine, and biology. For example, understanding how traits are inherited has helped scientists develop new crop varieties, improve animal breeding, and understand genetic diseases in humans. Mendel's story is a reminder of the importance of careful observation and experimentation in science. His work showed that by carefully studying nature and paying attention to the details, scientists can uncover important truths about how the world works. Mendel's experiments with pea plants, although simple at first, changed the way we understand heredity and provided the basis for modern genetics. Mendel's discoveries also show the importance of persistence. Although his work was not recognized during his lifetime, it eventually had a huge impact on science. His story teaches us that even if our ideas are not understood or appreciated at first, they may be recognized later and have a lasting influence. Mendel's patience and dedication to his experiments led to a discovery that changed the world. In the years since Mendel's work was rediscovered, scientists have built on his discoveries to learn even more about how genes work and how traits are inherited. Today, we know that genes are made up of DNA, which carries the instructions for building and maintaining living organisms. We also know that genes are located on chromosomes, which are structures inside cells that carry genetic information. Through advances in genetics, scientists have been able to learn more about diseases, develop new medical treatments, and improve our understanding of evolution. In conclusion, Gregor Mendel was a pioneering scientist whose experiments with pea plants led to groundbreaking discoveries about inheritance. His careful work laid the foundation for the field of genetics and helped us understand how traits are passed down from one generation to the next. Although his work was not recognized during his lifetime, it has had a lasting impact on science and continues to influence many fields today. Mendel's story reminds us of the power of observation, experimentation, and persistence in the pursuit of knowledge.